just a magical time of the year for us to set intentions for the changes we want to make in our lives. So just to give you an overview for what to expect from this workshop, we're going to be reflecting on the big picture. So thinking about our lives, where we're at, what are the areas that we want to focus on during this year. And then we're going to get clarity on our vision. So what exactly we want to achieve by the end of 2025? What does success looks like? Because sometimes we don't have a very clear vision for what success looks like. And sometimes we're very successful, but we don't recognize ourselves for our own success. So with getting clarity on our view, on our vision is going to really help us. And then in the third step, we're going to be setting intentional goals. So based on our reflection, on our vision, we can set goals in a more intentional way, right? So they are fundamented in a very solid foundation. It's not like us coming up with random goals because somebody else set that goal for themselves. It is something that is true to ourselves. And then we're going to define a realistic plan. And this is where most people stop. Some people, they are very good at setting goals that are intentional, but then they don't plan for how to achieve those goals. And that's when things get tricky, right? It is when we're planning the goals that we see how to achieve them, how to make them happen. So we're going to do a little bit of that in today's session. I'm going to give you a foundation for how to do that. And then at the end, we're going to talk about success, right? So you can have a framework for how to achieve success in 2025. Okay, so this is the New Year, New Life template I created. We're going to be following this on Notion. Just a little bit about me before we start. I come from a very traditional background in academia. So I'm an electrical engineer. I did a PhD in engineering science. And I also have a part of me that loves entrepreneurship. So I founded my startup company in 2020. And in 2023, I started my YouTube channel as well to share my passion for self-development, which is what's bringing us here today, right? So I've always had different things going on in my life. And with time, I realized that work wasn't everything, that we needed to also balance all the other areas of life to truly feel balanced and accomplished. So that's when I realized the importance of mastering the different areas of our lives and not focusing only on work and letting that define our entire lives. So by taking this more balanced approach, I was able to balance work, studies, and also focus on my fitness, diet, travel, which is something that I love, and my relationships as well. So you guys being here, we're starting a relationship today. We're working together on your goals, and community is a huge part of what I do. I love connecting with people and helping them achieve their goals. So it is a great pleasure for me to have you guys here. But that's not all. Over the years, by mastering my life, I realized that there is so much more outside of work, right? So I did earn a PhD, which is one of my biggest goals for my 20s. And now in my 30s, I am focusing a lot more in the other areas of life as well. So I hope that with this presentation and you taking this time to think about the big picture in your life, you also get inspired to dedicate more time and energy and attention to all these other areas of life as well. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get started with our workshop. So we have 5 steps here, right? So now we're going to get started with our template. So in the template there, if you can go to the reset page, we're only going to do this one exercise here today, right? I'm going to share the template here again, so you can click reset. And then here, you can go into the last toggle, which is reflect, and go into the wheel of life. So on your own time, I would strongly suggest that you review these other two steps here, and also in the video I explain very well how to do them because they're very important. But for today, let's focus on this one. This is a super simple exercise. We're just gonna look at the different areas of our lives and give it a rating. So you're gonna score from 1 to 5 your level of satisfaction in each of these areas of life. So you can write the rating here and write a little reflection as well. Why did you give it that score? What are the positives? What are the negatives? What are the things you're super satisfied with? What are the things that you want to change, right? So this is going to give you a lot of clarity into what's going on in the picture, right? For what's happening right now in your life. I see that Lucy and I have somebody else joining here as well. Janet are joining us, so welcome in. In the Notion template that I have a link in the chat for the Notion template that we're using, and you can open that template. In the reset page, you're going to see the wheel of life. So this is the exercise we're doing now, right? So I'm going to give, do you have any questions before we go into this exercise? Okay, that's a great question, Nicole. Environmental is more about your environment. So your home, the places you visit, let's say where you spend time in, the physical spaces where you spend time in work, for example, if you go to a gym or if you have a hobby, the time that you spend in those spaces. How happy are you about the spaces where you spend time in? Sometimes we don't reflect on that. So this is a beautiful time to reflect on this. Okay, Lucy, that's great. You found your way around to get to the Notion template. Yeah, I think, any other questions before we dive in? All good? I'm going, yes?
I think all good.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm going to start a timer, give you 4 minutes to reflect on this, give it a rating, and also reflect a little bit on why you gave it that rating. Let's go. It's too loud. Is it okay? Okay, perfect. I hope this was enough time for you guys to reflect on your life, considering these different areas there. I'm going to go back now to the Mentimeter. So on your phone, let's just see how you're feeling in terms of the area of your life that you would like to focus on mostly during this year. So for that, I suggest that you look at your wheel of life. The categories here are a little different. They're a little bit more condensed, right? There's only four. But in general, which of the areas do you feel that you need to dedicate more of your time and attention this year? So you see professional coming in first. So this is a great exercise for us to set the intentions and start thinking about the year ahead, right? So when we look at what happened in the past year, it gives us a lot of clarity, right? Which is essential for us to actually set goals that are true to where we are and where we want to be. Perfect. So I see professional coming in first, and then personal development, physical health, and then finally, wealth and finances. That's really cool. Thank you guys for sharing. Okay, that's great. So, how are you feeling after this exercise? Had you done this before? Was it the first time? I see Brentel is joining us. I have the link there in the chat for you to use the Notion template. Perfect. Yeah, the first time I did this exercise was something that like I never had, I realized that I never stopped to think about these areas of life much. So that it is such a good exercise to, yeah, give ourselves that time and think about our lives, right? So this is the first exercise done. And now we're going to get into the more practical steps of the workshop in terms of what we want this year, 2025, to look like. I really like this quote here, which says, "A dream written down with a date becomes a goal, and a goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, and then a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true." So, in today's workshop, we're going to be focusing mainly on these two parts here, really getting clarity in what are our dreams for 2025 and turning those dreams into a goal, which is our first step now. And then we're going to turn those goals into an actual plan. So to get clarity on our vision, I'd like you to go to the resolutions tab. So I'll share it back here. So this is the exercise that you guys did. If you want, you can just go back up here and go into resolutions. So in resolutions, we are going to be doing just the first exercise we have here in the intentions. And I suggest that you take some time, maybe in the evening, and answer some journaling prompts. These are very, um, I, you get some really interesting answers and clarity in your life, right? But for now, we're just going to be doing this exercise here. So what is this exercise? You're going to write down the two to four main areas of life here that you want to focus on in 2025. So you can use the wheel of life there if you want to copy the areas of life that you want to improve, the that you want to focus on this year. I'm just having a little bit of background noise. Okay. Okay, I can mute them. Okay. So that is the first exercise, let's say. And then you can go into writing down what are the things you want to have in that area. So let's say that the area of your life that you selected that you want to focus on is your health. And then maybe the thing that you want to have at the end of 2025 is being better health or in better improve your fitness. So you can think about that, or maybe for you it is I want to lose weight, and then you can have the exact thing you want to have at the end of the year. And then you can think about the actions that you need to do to achieve that goal, and then write down the things you want to how you need to change to actually achieve that goal. So the main idea of this exercise here is for us to get thinking about not only the external things we want to have, that we can see in the physical world, but also the actions we need to take, and also the different traits and skills that we need to develop in order to achieve that. So everything in our lives is a reflection of us, right? So by changing who we are, we achieve things that we don't have now. So if we want different things, we need to become someone different. That is the main basis of this. You don't need to overcomplicate this, right? You can keep it really simple just to get your brain thinking in that direction now, right? So I'm going to give you another 3 minutes to have a think about this exercise in particular. Do you have any questions before we dive in?
So, do we have to put specific goals, or like say just
It doesn't need to be very specific. At this stage, we want to just get our brain going in a different direction, in the right direction. And then when we're setting goals, we're going to be a little bit more structured in how we do it. So in the vision part is something more broad. It doesn't need to have a structure or anything, right? Um, yeah, so you can keep it broad and it doesn't need to be extremely specific.
okay.
Kata, I saw that you just joined. If you go to the chat there, I have a link for this Notion template here. So you can click this button up here that says duplicate, and then you can start using this Notion template with us and do this exercise. So this exercise is in the resolutions page. You're going to open the Notion template. This is what it looks like. You can click here and then go down into vision setting intention. Okay, so I'm going to set a timer here for 3 minutes, and hopefully you can get a clearer idea for your vision. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, so we're all done. Hopefully, you had some time to think a little bit better about the things you want to have and do and the changes you want to make in your life in 2025. So, now going back to our exercises here, the next step is if you have any questions in the meantime, also feel free to drop them in the chat. So be keeping an eye there. The next exercise we're going to do is to set intentional goals. So as I mentioned, in the first part, we were a little bit more broad. Now we're going to bring a little bit more structure here to how we set goals. So here I have a few examples for you. This is something that took me a long time to understand, and after reading many books on goal setting, I understood this and it made the process of setting goals so much easier, and it turned it from something that used to be a little intimidating, I would say, to something that is more exciting because I understand it better now, right? So, one important distinction here that I want to highlight is the difference between results based goals and process based goals. So results-based goals, they are looking at a specific output you want to have, an outcome you want to have. And the process-based goals, they're based on inputs, they're based on actions, things that you actually do. So naturally, you have a lot more control over the process-based goals because they relate to the actions that you do. You have a lot more control over your actions than the results of your actions, right? So to give you an example here of results-based goals and process-based goals, I divided them between the three categories here. So in terms of wealth, let's say that one of your goals for 2025 is to get a promotion in work. This is a results-based goal because it doesn't depend only on you and on your actions. But on the other hand, completing important projects or an important training you are taking in work or maybe outside of work, that is actually an action. It is something that you have a lot more control on, right? So sometimes I used to set goals that were output based without realizing that there were internal and external circumstances and things that influenced a lot on me achieving or not that goal, right? So it doesn't really mean that one way of doing it is wrong and the other way is right. Not at all. It is something that we need to keep in mind because otherwise we tend to get frustrated about the results that we get, or sometimes if we don't have a clear understanding of what to expect, then we can be overly ambitious. And this happens to the best of us, okay? So I hope that having this understanding will also help you feel less intimidated about setting goals and more excited about it, right? For me, one of the biggest motivations to set goals is really to push me outside my comfort zone. So I'm going to give you one example here. Last year, I set one goal related to my health, which was to do 50 yoga sessions. And I got to December and I needed to do 15. I didn't have a yoga mat with me because I was traveling a lot of the time. So we couldn't really keep up with that goal, right? But I was very committed to achieving the goal of 50 yoga sessions. So I did yoga for 15 days straight. And that meant that I had to take my yoga mat, travel with me, and do yoga wherever I was. So that really pushed me outside of my comfort zone to achieve that goal. So it's almost like I expanded what my comfort zone was. And I felt so proud of myself for having achieved that because that signals to my brain that I can rely on myself, that I can trust in myself to achieve the goals that I set for myself. And in the same way that I did my best with my health goals, I also did my best with my wealth and relationship goals. So it is all about giving, taking your goals, giving your goals the importance they have, right? So I hope that this gives you a little bit of an insight into goal setting and this important distinction here. I personally prefer process-based goals, which are based on inputs, on actions that I do, but it doesn't mean that I don't set any results-based goals. I do have some results-based goals, but I do keep in mind that it is a little bit more out of my comfort zone, or a little bit out of my zone of control, let's say. I can't control everything, right? So an example here, if you had the goal to be able to do splits by the end of the year, obviously, this is something that you can somewhat control. You can do a lot of stretching over the year, but you're not guaranteed to achieve that particular goal, right? So, yeah, with that, I hope it gives you a little bit more insight into how to set goals. And you probably heard also of SMART goals. So, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So, I have an example here for how to turn a more general goal into a SMART goal. So, in general, in the way that a lot of people would think about a goal as, I want to read more next year, I want to eat healthier or exercise more, right? So, how do you make that goal more specific? So, here is an example. If you want to be more specific, you could say read 10 books. So that is very specific and measurable. You know exactly what you need to do. And achievable, relevant, and time bound, they are more boxes that you tick, let's say. You don't really change the wording in how you are setting the goal. And that is because the goals that we're setting here are based on our year. So they already are time bound because you want to achieve them by the end of 2025. If some of your goals, the things that you have in mind there, you want to achieve in less time, you can also specify that when you write the goal. So I gave you a few examples here. Each healthier could become limit takeaway to once a week. So this is something very measurable. You know if you've achieved your goal or not, right? Or it could also become meal prep, 5 meals per week. So every week, you know if you achieved that goal that you set for yourself. And also there is exercise more. So you could turn that into workout 3 times per week, let's say. So it is very clear whether or not you achieve that goal. And it also gives you more motivation on a day-to-day basis, because let's say it's the beginning of the week and you're not very clear on what you need to do. This gives you a lot of clarity, right? Because success looks like exercising 3 times a week. Success looks like meal prepping 5 meals per week, right? So it becomes a lot more tangible and a lot more, it's clearer what you actually need to do, right? So yeah, do you have any questions so far in terms of goal setting? Or had you heard of these before? Is this something new to you? You can let me know. If you want to unmute yourselves, I'd love to have a chat. Okay, so when you're in setting intentional goals, I hope you can see my screen there. You can use this section here of the template. I'm very delighted to hear, Lucy. Thank you. In this section of the template, I'll just go back there so you guys can see it. So this is the section that we did, our intention setting. And also I have a template here for the vision board. I'll show you guys my vision board at the end of the session. It's just such a great way to connect with your goals. So I strongly suggest that you do your, I might show you this now. And this one, yeah, so this is my vision board. So I have all the things that I want to do, the things that I want to achieve in 2025 in just one place. And this is the wallpaper on my laptop. So every time I open my laptop, I see my vision board, I get so motivated and excited because I have such a clear picture of what it looks like, right? What success looks like in 2025. So I hope you guys also take the time to build your own vision board, and do let me know in the chat if you already built yours, because I saw some people in the group who already have their vision boards done. Anyway, let's go back to the presentation. There, this one, share. Okay, so yeah, this is the part where we set goals. So here I suggest that you also set goals based on the three main areas of life. But if you want, you can also rename these, right? So when you have the template there, if you click here, you can rename the category. Maybe you want to set goals and you want to name this category work, and this category maybe studies, or it could be your side hustle, for example. And another one could be health, or if you want to do, let's say, money related goals, you could have money. So this is completely customizable. You just click there and you can change it. I left some goals here just as an example, right? But obviously you don't need to keep these, right? You can just delete them, or if you prefer, you can just go one by one, changing them. In the first part of this exercise, I want to suggest that you do two things. The first one is to think about your goals for each area of your life, right? And if you have time, I'm going to give you 5 minutes again. You can also pick one picture here. So on Notion, you can just click the tab up here to choose one of the images they have there, right? Because that way you have a little vision board as well. So it is very nice to look at during the year. It really motivates us. As humans, we are very visual, right? And so I strongly suggest that you do that. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to set the goals. And also, if you look at these explanations here, it might prompt you different areas that you want to set goals for. Okay, if you have any questions as well, feel free to drop them. Okay, Nicole, I'm sorry to hear you need to go, but thank you so much for attending the workshop. It was a pleasure having you here. I'll be in touch with the workshop recording, okay? And now for everyone, I'm going to set a timer so we can get started with, this is the most exciting part of the workshop, in my opinion. And the most important is after that, right? So after the excitement comes the most important part. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes there. Okay, so we have set our goals. Hopefully you got enough time to think about it, but you can also take some time this evening maybe to refine everything. This for me is a little bit of a process. I took maybe 1 or 2 days to really set and refine my goals to a point where I'm confident, yes, this is it, what I want to achieve in 2025. So don't worry if you didn't finish it, that's no problem at all. The main idea in this workshop is to give you the tools, to give you the tools that you can use and the process that you can use for setting your goals. I'd be very excited to hear if about your goals, if you can share them maybe using Mentimeter there. So I'll go back there and maybe we can share some goals that we have for the first quarter of 2025, let's say. I'll just go back here to Mentimeter and then I'll share a few with you guys as well. So you can just scan the QR code on the screen and maybe share 1 or 2 goals that you're very excited about to achieve in 2024 in this first quarter, hopefully. Let me get to my list here so I can share some with you. Okay, so for quarter one, let's see. So I'm learning Spanish, so that's one of my biggest goals because I'm moving to Spain and I want to feel very confident speaking with people in Spanish, making new friends, and Spanish is such an important goal for me. Another one, I want to publish 60 YouTube videos. So last year I did around 40. I I can't remember the number exactly. I think it was around 50 actually, maybe 49 or something. And this year I want to push a little bit and do 60 videos. Let's see. Another thing that I'm excited for is to run 700 kilometers this year. So yeah, in 2024, I ran 700, and this year I want to do 700 as well. So let me check your answers if you can share some there. Let me see. Oh, I can type more. I also set a goal to do 50 yoga sessions, and I'm doing so well so far because I have a yoga mat. So it's so simple to do it. It only takes 30 minutes. It's great. Anyone has, okay, I see some goals there. So weight by 3 to 4 kg. That's really good, very specific. Start side hustle, that's great, very exciting times. And also read 3 books. That's really good. Reading books is such an amazing thing. I wasn't a reader at all. Balancing work and life, that's really good. Perfect. It's so great to have clarity on what is it that you want to achieve because it really guides our actions on a daily basis, right? Perfect. So thank you so much for sharing. I'll keep this open as well. So if you guys want to share, we'll go back to it. Oh, thank you, Lucy. I'm reading your message there. Yes, looking forward to connecting with you. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. Very good. So going back to our method here. So in the fourth step, we're going to define a realistic plan there. So there are 3 parts to this. The first part, I want you to go into priorities and think about these goals that you set. which priority they are. The priority number one, two, or three. And I would suggest to have a balance there, right? Not having 20 or all of them be number one or all of them be number three, for example. Having a good balance there is great because it's going to help you prioritize things on a daily basis. So at the start of the week or at the start of the day, you can prioritize the things that you know are a priority for you. And if you don't get to do the thing that is priority number three, you're okay with it because you know you were doing priority number one thing now, right? So that really helps you get more clarity and prioritize your time better when the time comes. The second thing I suggest that you do, so we'll go back to the template there. So the priority is the number one. And then I suggest that you also set the quarter when you want to work on this. Some of the goals, you're going to be working on them for the entire year. So you can put them here into all. But for some of them, you're only going to be looking at them for one quarter in specific, right? So maybe if you want to lose 5 kg in Q1, this is a goal for Q1 only. And hopefully you won't be working on it in the next quarters. And also maybe if you have a trip or a project that is going to happen at a specific time of the year, you can also plan in advance. So this way here, you have a very clear view of what's going on in your life during a specific time. During January, February, and March, you know that these are the goals you're working on, okay? And the third thing I suggest that you do is to plan your actions. So here is where things get a little more real in terms of what are the actions I need to take to make it happen in my life. So in the example goals that I have in the template there, I have also some key actions there to prompt you. Maybe these help you understand what exactly you need to do or what's the process. But in general, these actions, they are either a project, so something you need to do that has different elements to it, different tasks to it, but that finishes when it's done. Or it can be also a habit that you want to build, right? So you can you have a little bit of flexibility there in terms of the actions. What are the things you need to do? So as an example there, if one of your goals is to save 30% of your income, what are the actions that you need to take? Maybe you need to study about personal finance. Maybe you want to follow a few YouTube channels or a few influencers to talk about it. Or maybe you want to do a course. That is a great idea as well. Maybe you want to start tracking your income. Maybe you have an Excel sheet that you already use to track your income and you want to create this habit of tracking your income and your expenses monthly. Maybe there is a function in your banking app to save money every month. Maybe you can set that up so that is a task that you can do to check your banking app, to have this automatically done for you, right? So money going into your savings account every month. Yeah, so hopefully this prompts you a few ideas there. I'm going to give you 4 minutes for this. You don't need to map out everything right now, but just get your head thinking in that direction. And hopefully this is going to bring a lot of clarity in terms of how to actually achieve the goals that you set, okay? And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll be delighted to answer them. Okay, I'll share this tab instead and start the timer for you. So give you 4 minutes. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. So hopefully that gave you some time to think about the different actions that you need to take and plan the priorities in the quarter. I can share with you as well my own goals. I know you guys love seeing different examples for how to actually set goals and all that. So hopefully that should prompt you a few ideas there. So I set my goals using the three different areas of life there. And a lot of them are building up on last year's. So, especially the ones related to health. I know this year I ran 700 kilometers and I want to keep myself accountable to actually do it. If I don't set a goal, I won't. I know that for sure. So that is why I like to be very methodical about it. And also for the 100 gym sessions, this year I achieved 102. And looking into this year, I know I'll be traveling for a couple of months, so I won't have a gym membership. I know that this is pretty realistic, but also if I don't set this goal, I probably will fall short. I told you about my yoga sessions, so it is the same there. And this goal here falls into the category of outcome related goals or results based because it is very hard for me to control whether or not I can do this in one run the half marathon in 1 hour and 50 minutes, right? But it is something that is going to motivate me to give my best in my training, and that's why I said it this way. But if I'm 5 minutes later, if it takes me 5 minutes more, that's no big deal. I'm still happy and proud of myself for the work that I put in, right? Um, and the cycling as well. This was something that if I hadn't set a goal this year, I wouldn't have achieved. I wouldn't have cycled as much. And having that goal actually pushed the people around me to go cycling with me because I had a clear reason. I was like, I need to achieve this goal. You guys need to help me. Let's go cycling. And that helped me create so many beautiful memories. And that's why I'm such a huge fan of setting goals, right? I also have some relationship related goals here and also some wealth related goals, saving. And this keeps me very focused. Whenever there is an opportunity for me to do something else, I know what I want and I am a lot more I'm okay with saying no with for the things that I don't want. It keeps me really focused. It's really hard for me to get distracted because I know what I want. And when we don't know exactly what we want, that's when if something else comes as an opportunity, we may get distracted, right? So yeah, this is why I'm so I am this way. I like setting goals, and not only for like the more serious part of life, but also the the special parts of life of relationships and travel and all that, right? So I hope that this inspires you and gives you maybe ideas for other goals that you could set that are in line with the intentions that you set for 2025. Okay, so now if you have any questions or anything, I'd love to hear from you guys. Going back to the presentation there, um, let's go. So now we're getting more in. So we've basically set the vision and the goals, we've planned a little bit. Let's talk about execution, how to actually make this happen in your life, right? So there are four things that you absolutely need to make this come true, right? And it is clarity or motivation. Having clarity is going to give you motivation because when you know for sure what you want, and that is aligned with your values, that is the motivation you need. Then second, you need direction, because when you have a direction, when you have a goal, you are focused because you know exactly what you want and what success looks like. And third, you need discipline to saying no for everything else and keeping yourself focused on your goals, on the things you said you wanted to do, right? And this is a lot related to persistence because Sometimes things won't go exactly how we imagined. Sometimes it is going to be harder than you thought, or sometimes your priorities will change along the way, and that's okay as well. So, really doing your best and being disciplined is very, very important. Oh, my light turned off. Turn it back on. And also time and energy, right? If we don't put in the time and energy, it's just not going to happen. So, to help you identify the roadblocks that there